One of the most unsettling questions in human history is this: is the tomb of Jesus truly in Jerusalem or somewhere else entirely? This question is not merely an archaeological curiosity. It is a matter that touches faith, culture, and identity. The stone streets of Jerusalem have echoed this question for centuries. The exact location of the tomb has left a sacred emptiness in the hearts of believers. Every prayer, every pilgrimage step adds another veil over this mystery. But what lies behind the veil, once lifted, remains unknown. In the shadows of history, some questions weigh more than others, for their answers carry not just information, but identity, faith, and culture. In Jerusalem, one question has haunted humanity for 2 millennia. Is Jesus' tomb truly here? This is not an academic question alone. It is the very heart of countless prayers, rituals, and hopes. Every stone seems to whisper another story. History and belief are interwoven so tightly that reaching a definitive answer becomes nearly impossible. Today, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is venerated as the site where Jesus was laid to rest and rose. 3 days later, at its center stands the Edicule, a small stone chamber regarded as the very tomb itself. Pilgrims from across the world wait hours to touch its walls, whispering prayers into the silence. Yet the official recognition of this site came centuries after the crucifixion. Around the 4th century, when Helena, mother of Emperor Constantine, journeyed to the Holy Land, her identification of the site led to the construction of the Great Church. But here lies the problem. Why was the tomb not clearly marked for nearly 300 years? Why the silence of the earliest Christians? Some say persecution by Rome forced secrecy. Others suggest political motives guided Helena's choice. Archaeological digs beneath the church reveal layers of history, remains of older shrines, pagan temples, and earlier burial caves. These layers complicate the story. Was the site truly chosen by sacred tradition or by imperial decree? The Roman Empire played a decisive role in shaping the fate of sacred spaces. Crucifixion was not only a punishment, it was a brutal display of authority. Roads lined with crosses were warnings carved into the very landscape. In this context, the crucifixion of Jesus fits Roman practice. Yet Roman historians such as Tacitus and Josephus barely mention the event. Their silence puzzles scholars. Was it simply one of many crucifixions, lost in the empire's bloody routine? Or was something deliberately left unsaid? The earliest Christians may have avoided marking the tomb out of fear of Roman retaliation. But skeptics argue, what if the tomb was never preserved at all? What if the holy sites we revere today were later reconstructions political, symbolic, not historical? The mystery of Jesus' final resting place stretches beyond Jerusalem. From Asia to Europe, legends whisper alternative endings. In Kashmir, India, the Rosabal Shrine is said by some to hold Jesus' body. According to this theory, he survived the cross, traveled east, and lived as a teacher until old age. In Japan's village of Shing, an extraordinary legend claims Jesus escaped crucifixion. While his brother took his place on the cross, Jesus, it says, fled to Japan, married, had children, and died there at the age of 106. In France, esoteric traditions around Rennes-le-Château suggest that Jesus came to Europe, leaving descendants and hidden knowledge behind. These theories are dismissed by mainstream historians, but they refuse to die. Folklore, local inscriptions, and oral traditions fuel the fire, presenting tantalizing fragments that keep the mystery alive. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls reshaped our understanding of the religious landscape of Jesus' time. Some texts speak of mysterious messianic figures, fueling speculation about hidden histories. The apocryphal Gospels, excluded from the biblical canon, present alternative versions of events. Some hint at unknown journeys, secret teachings, or even survival after crucifixion. The Church long rejected these texts as heretical, but their existence raises troubling questions. And then there's the shadow of the Vatican archives. Vast, sealed collections of ancient documents lie locked away. Skeptics believe they hide explosive truths about Jesus' life, death, and possible burial. The secrecy of the archives, whether justified or not, feeds an endless storm of speculation. Archaeology digs into silence. Excavations in Jerusalem reveal overlapping eras, Roman streets, Byzantine chapels, Ottoman walls, all stacked upon one another like layers of memory. In the 20th century, archaeologists uncovered ancient tombs beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Some align with the right time period, others don't. Without DNA evidence or the ability to disturb sacred sites, certainty remains out of reach. Science can date stones, map soil, and analyze structures, but it cannot yet solve the mystery of one particular body, one particular tomb. The deeper the archaeologists dig, the more tangled the history becomes. Wherever knowledge is hidden, conspiracy thrives. The Vatican's vaults, miles of shelves buried underground, hold manuscripts, papal letters, and ancient codices. Access is limited, fueling whispers of cover-ups. Do these archives hold records of alternative burial traditions? Or are they simply routine collections, their mystery exaggerated by popular imagination? We cannot know, and that uncertainty is a seedbed for speculation. Some say the Church feared the collapse of faith if another tomb was revealed. Others argue the truth may be less dramatic, documents lost, misfiled, or misunderstood. In the absence of clarity, myth rushes in. Why does the question of a tomb matter so deeply? Because faith is drawn to the tangible. A tomb gives believers something to touch, something to circle in ritual. It turns the abstract into stone. Pilgrimage is not just travel, it is identity in motion. To walk the streets of Jerusalem, to kneel in a dark chapel, is to bridge the distance between myth and flesh. Even if historians debate, the faithful experience presence. And so, the debate is more than factual, it is existential. Without a tomb, faith floats with one. Faith roots itself in earth and stone. From the very beginning, the story of Jesus' tomb shaped the imagination of cultures across continents. It wasn't just a question of stone and dust, it was a question of identity, of destiny, of how human beings face the ultimate mystery of death. Over the centuries, art, myth, and culture carried this story forward like a flame, illuminating the darkest corners of human fear and hope. In the underground catacombs of Rome, persecuted Christians drew simple signs: a fish, a shepherd, a cross scratched into stone. Yet hidden among them were images of a small cave, a circle representing the stone door rolled back, a dawn rising above a hollow chamber. For the earliest believers, the tomb wasn't just where Christ lay, it was a gateway, a passage beyond death. These images were messages of survival. Anyone who saw them understood life conquers death, even here in the shadows. By the 4th and 5th centuries, when Christianity had become the empire's faith, the story of the tomb entered the golden mosaics of Byzantine churches. In glittering gold and lapis lazuli, Christ was painted stepping out of a radiant sarcophagus, pulling Adam and Eve from their graves. The tomb was no longer just a place, it was a cosmic battlefield. Angels, soldiers, demons, and light all collided in these works of art. To look at them was to feel the drama of eternity pressing against the walls of a church. As centuries passed, the story sank deeper into daily life. In medieval Europe, mystery plays brought the tomb to village squares. When townspeople saw the stone being rolled away and Christ's figure rising, they weren't just spectators, they were participants in a ritual that blended faith with theater. For one brief moment, every person in the crowd believed they were standing outside the actual tomb. At the same time, Gothic cathedrals rose into the sky. Their stained glass windows bathed worshippers in colored light, often telling the story of Christ's burial and resurrection. Sunlight became a sermon. Beams of crimson and gold reminded all who entered that the tomb was not a prison of death, but a chamber of new creation. But the story of the tomb was not limited to official churches. Legends sprouted like wildflowers on the edges of Christian Europe. Some claimed that Joseph of Arimathea, who had buried Jesus, traveled west, carrying with him the Holy Grail. In Glastonbury, England, whispers grew of a hidden tomb and a miraculous chalice that caught Christ's blood. Pilgrims trekked across hills, searching for sacred ground. Whether true or not, the myth spread a deeper idea. Perhaps Christ's presence was not bound to Jerusalem alone, but scattered like seeds across the world. Other legends placed Christ in India, Persia, even Japan. These tales, often blending local folklore with Christian rumor, gave birth to a universal myth. The tomb was not one place, but everywhere faith dared to imagine it. The Renaissance rediscovered classical art and philosophy, but it never abandoned the story of the tomb. Painters like Titian and Caravaggio filled their canvases with stark contrasts, light bursting from darkness, stone giving way to sky in their brushstrokes. The tomb became not just a religious site, but a metaphor for human struggle, the rebirth of knowledge, the triumph of creativity over ignorance. Michelangelo's sculptures echoed this as well. His depictions of Christ's resurrection captured both agony and glory, showing that the tomb was as much about human suffering as it was about divine victory. The tomb also marched into literature. Dante's Divine Comedy placed Christ's resurrection at the center of the cosmic drama of hell, purgatory, and heaven. For Dante, the empty tomb was not just an event, it was the axis on which the entire universe turned. Milton, in Paradise Lost, tied the resurrection to the eternal struggle with Satan. The tomb became proof that evil could never claim the final word. Even Shakespeare, though not overtly religious, in his plays often invoked imagery of graves, resurrection, and eternal rest, signs that the tomb had embedded itself so deeply in Western imagination that even secular works echoed its presence. Music gave the tomb its voice. Gregorian chants, echoing through stone monasteries, evoked the hollow silence of a cave. Later, Bach's St. Matthew Passion and St. John Passion transformed the tomb into a symphony of sorrow and triumph. Every note seemed to ask, what happened there? Who rolled away the stone? Handel's Messiah thundered with the cry, O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? Audiences wept, not just at the beauty of the music, but because it reminded them of the ancient mystery that one tomb might hold the secret to eternity. Even language itself carries traces of the debate. Place names, inscriptions, and shifting translations of ancient words sometimes hint at forgotten traditions. Scholars study these fragments like breadcrumbs scattered through history. But words are slippery. A single mistranslation or alteration can reshape entire traditions. The story of the tomb is as much about language as it is about stone. The location of Jesus' burial is not just sacred, it is strategic. Whoever controls a holy site controls influence, economy, and power. Jerusalem's sacred geography has fueled centuries of conflict for Jews, Muslims, and Christians alike. A tomb is not just a resting place, it is a claim to legitimacy. To declare the true site of Christ's burial is to wield extraordinary authority. And that is why the debate is never only academic. It is political, even geopolitical. In the end, perhaps the greatest truth is this: the exact location of the tomb may never be known. The silence of stone, the gaps of history, the weight of belief all remind us that some mysteries resist closure. But maybe the real question is not where Jesus' body lay, but what his life and message left behind. Perhaps the tomb's power lies in its uncertainty, for in that uncertainty, faith takes shape not in answers, but in the courage to keep searching. And so, Across centuries of dust and stone, one haunting question remains. Is the tomb in Jerusalem or hidden in another corner of the world? Maybe the answer lies not in earth, but in the chambers of our own hearts. For more, you can subscribe to my channel and like my video.